हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
माता
जय
जी
श्री
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी से माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी,
दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी,
हरे कृष्ण
दंडवत
प्रभु जी।
प्रणाम।
दंडवत प्रणाम। सौम्या माता जी,
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत
हरे
प्रणाम।
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत।
रीना माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। So we'll do a small kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana यशोदानन्दना जयो ब्रज जनरञ्जना जयो ब्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी जयो कुंज बिहारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जयो कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधवा जयो कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधवा जयो कुंज बिहारी जयो गोपी जनवल्लभा जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गोपी जनवल्लभा जयो गिरिवरधारी जयो गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन ब्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन ब्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधवा जयो कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधवा जयो कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुदीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वर। Okay. So we will start with the third verse of the Act of Instruction. The first verse speaks about um, tolerating the urges of speech which are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, which involves anything other than Krishna or not related, or fault finding, criticism, speaking about the negative qualities, speaking about something that puts others down, anything. It's all consists of tolerating the urge, because the urge is there, but then we tolerate it. And then if there is something that wants to come out from our mouth, see if it is causing anxiety to others, or if it is about third person in a condemning way. We can actually glorify others in a positive way, and that's all right. Like this devotee is, that devotee may not be present, but that Vaishnava um, is very nice, very wonderful Vaishnava. um, uh, he's whatever, and that's all right. But things like, that person is in mode of ignorance, that person is in passion ignorance, so those things are not good. For sake of teaching, we can say, like, most of the people in this world are in mode of passion ignorance, that's all right, but we are not kind of criticizing somebody specific, but just for the sake of teaching we can say the truth. But otherwise, even if it is truth, there is no need to speak, because um, it just makes us feel better in some way, but that kind of pleasure is not at all a good pleasure. If somebody derives pleasure, that is also like pleasure in lower modes anyways. So the urge to speak, then the urge of mind with many desires to fulfill, the urge of to become angry because things are unexpected, the urge to become angry, then the urge of belly, the urge of genitals, which should not be used inappropriately. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam. Yeah, jiva is the tongue to eat things which we should not eat. So first, these are 6 urges. If one controls, then actually one can avoid mistakes, because when one becomes angry, then after materialistic pleasures, speak about others in a negative way, or eating forbidden foodstuffs, or misusing genitals and other things, they are all very detrimental. So beginning of spiritual life is we can tolerate these urges in ourselves. And then Rupa Goswami describes now 6 things which are not conducive for our Krishna consciousness. And he said, um, Atyahara prayasascha, prajalpa niyamagraha, Janasangha laulam cha, Shadbir bhakti vinashyati. Atyahara, accumulating more things than required. Prayasas, and then over endeavor, because there is desire to accumulate more, so work more. So prayasas cha, prajalpa, again. Prajalpa and vacho vegam is same. Tolerating the urge, and prajalpa is anything. Uh, Speaking things that should not be spoken. Working in the office, talking about uh, um, project work, perfectly all right. Normal things like what to cook, what groceries to buy, where to go, daily activities, perfectly all right. But things which are negative, either about the person or some other person or anything, or um, taking interest in political affairs, like how many corona cases now, I think it's gone long back, but those things that creates anxiety, they are not conducive. They will capture our mind. Or watching movies, um, 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 politics, yeah, all these things are highly detrimental. Or TV serials, shows, um, just to entertain ourselves, yeah, they are detrimental. But day-to-day activities, perfectly all right. Talking about services, perfectly all right. Discussions are needed. It's practical and all right. So, Atyahara Prayasas Prajalpa Niyamagraha. Not following the rules and regulations, that's okay, doesn't matter. No, it matters. So they are not conducive. Then, because they put us in illusion, these ignorance, these forbidden things like um, flesh or intoxication or these things, they increase our anger, they increase our lusty desires, and they put us in ignorance. So we are trying so hard to come to goodness and become absorbed in Lord Krishna. And then we do things that are detrimental, not good. Or if we are prayasa, if we are over endeavoring for wealth, or making so many schemes how to gain more, how to earn more, how to accumulate more, or becoming very interested in what to buy, what all varieties, then we will see our consciousness becomes absorbed there, and gradually we will lose interest in Krishna. Because right use of our eagerness is eagerness to advance. Right use of greed is greed to develop taste in the holy name, greed to hear about Krishna, greed to read the scriptures. So greed to serve the devotees and the Lord. So these are right use of greed, and misdirected greed leads to atyahara, getting more and more. And if we see, the root cause of our existence in this material world is the enjoyership mentality, that I am the enjoyer. And all these things is like encouraging the mentality that I am the enjoyer. Why uncontrolled time? I am the enjoyer. Why to become angry? Things are not happening my way. Things should happen my way. So that gives me pleasure. And anything doesn't give me pleasure, I'll become angry. I am the enjoyer. So that things brings out prayasa, over endeavor. Why we are endeavoring so hard? I want more. So why? Because then I can enjoy more. That's why I want more. Otherwise, Prabhupada said like 1 acre of land and 1 cow is enough. But then who is responsible? We are responsible. We get knowledge, but then when we cultivate desires, which are too hard to fulfill, um, um, it diverts our attention from Lord Krishna into many other things. So, Prajalpa, why going to movie, going to restaurants, and enjoy it? Same principle repeats. So, Krishna consciousness is I am servant of Krishna. I am not the master. Krishna is the master, and I am serving him. And when we actually try to serve Krishna, we become really peaceful, become really happy. We become joyful, we become nourished. But then when we try to enjoy, we get a lot of miseries. And that's what Krishna says. That um, ehi samspasa cha bhoga dukkha yona evate adi antavanta kauntaya na teshu ramate buddha. An experienced person does not participate in the source of misery. Dukkha yonana evate. Only dukkha comes. How? Ehi samspasa cha bhoga. When one tries to do bhoga, bhoga means enjoy. Samsparsha, contact of the senses with the sense objects. Eyes to see, skin to touch, and then what else? Tongue to taste. So this is samsparsha cha bhoga. When one tries to enjoy the senses through the senses, when one tries to enjoy the objects of the senses through the senses. Krishna says dukkha yunana evate. Dukkha will come. But because of illusion, because of maya, because of ignorance, one feels that by seeing, by touching, by tasting, I'll become happy. And one does become happy temporarily. And that's what Krishna says. This is happiness in mode of passion, which is nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. So they will eventually lead us to misery. And then they create reaction. And then they develop attachments. And then our tendency to enjoy some similar things more and more, and then one becomes controlled by these things, by these attachments, and naturally if one is very much attached, then Krishna consciousness becomes difficult. To develop taste in Krishna consciousness becomes difficult. Fifth canto, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, Tapo Devya Putraka Eva Sattva, that the human life is meant for austerities. And what is austerity? Austerity is by doing things which is favorable to Krishna. Austerity means voluntary, voluntary accepting voluntary difficulties, accepting difficulties voluntarily. Like by my own will, I'm accepting difficulties. So austerity means two things. One is to accept the principles which are favorable for Krishna consciousness. Even if I don't want to do it, I will still do it. Even if I don't want to chant, I will chant. This is tapasya. Even if I don't want to beg forgiveness, I'll beg forgiveness. Even if I don't want to take a humble position, I will take a humble position. Even if fill in the blanks, I will still do it because it is favorable to Krishna. Even though, yeah, and then not doing things which are unfavorable. Like even though I want to drink alcohol, I want to take smoking, I want to gamble in the casinos, I will not do it. This is an austerity. So Prabhupada says just follow four regulatory principles, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This is the biggest austerity. And he says associate with devotees, and he says serve in association, go to temple and you serve. So, and he said to cooperate among devotees in a friendly manner. This is a tapasya. This is an austerity in this age. So, now coming to this beginning of this third verse of Nectar of Instruction, 6 principles that ensure complete success. 6 principles that ensures degradation in spiritual life. Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, not following rules and regulations which are conducive. Niyamagraha, Janasanga, associating with worldly minded people. People who are attached to sense gratification, opposite sex, um, attach, taking their association. Taking association means receiving inspiration from them. Oh, he's such a big businessman. I want to become a bigger businessman than him. So we have taken a satsang there because somebody is so much attached to wealth, and now we are also wanting to become very much attached because we are inspired by them. So this is a satsang. Rather, I want to be inspired by Srila Prabhupada and spiritual master, those who have um, um, those who are peaceful, satisfied, pure at heart, and creating a difference in the lives of people and helping others instead of helping only myself and thinking only about myself. And what can I get in this world? How can I, whatever way, um, can I become bigger in this world, and what can I excuse from this world? Rather than a devotee thinks, okay, what can I give to this world? How can I serve everyone? How can I extend myself? How can I accept volunteer discomfort for the sake of others' pleasures? How can I make others happy? So this is a Vaishnav life. And then Laulyam is greed for material things. But these 6 things will really help us. And what are those? Utsaha nishchaya dhairya tattat karma pravartanat sangya tyaga satoviti. So these are the 6 things that will advance our Krishna consciousness. And the first one is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is utsaha. So one should, we will discuss in detail, very quick summary. One should practice Krishna consciousness enthusiastically. One should chant enthusiastically. One should render seva enthusiastically. One should serve the devotees enthusiastically, maybe invite devotees and feed them prasad enthusiastically, or enthusiastic about reading, enthusiastic about listening, enthusiastic about any Krishna conscious activity. But the thing is, enthusiasm cannot come unless our enthusiasm to enjoy this material world go down. When actually we become enthusiastic for making spiritual progress, then we'll become enthusiastic to all these principles. And enthusiasm is very important. And lack of enthusiasm means some Krishna conscious activity, I'm not interested. I'm very interested to do my job, very interested to take care of my family and children, very interested to gratify my senses, go for a movie, very interested to go to a restaurant, very interested to any form of sense gratification. I will wake up 4 a.m. for a flight to, scenic places. I will work very hard for my sense gratification. But when it comes to serving Krishna, then I have to think 5 times. Oh no, I have to serve Krishna. So this is completely opposite to our spiritual advancement. What is favorable is we can know if we are advancing, if we are very enthusiastic to serve Krishna and to serve Krishna's devotees, and we are not at all enthusiastic to serve ourselves. But people in this material world are conditioned the other way. Conditioned the other way means they will work day and night for one's own self. It's like we see that like today morning, one devotee came and we see that some devotees, they are very enthusiastic to serve Krishna. But for some devotees, serving Krishna is a waste of time. They don't say, they don't accept, but action speaks louder than words. But their action is like, I'm wasting my time by serving Krishna. Rather, this time, instead of chanting, instead of rendering service in the temple. What do I get by doing all these things? This is all waste of my time. Rather, I will make more money. I will do something that's helping me. What can serving Krishna free of cost give me? It simply doesn't give me anything. So this is called conditioning. This is called, basically, one does not know what is in one's benefit, what is in one's welfare. So the idea is one should be very enthusiastic to serve Krishna. And if you are now, what we want is, we are very enthusiastic to serve ourselves and our own desires and our own fill in the blanks. But then we say to Krishna, why I have no taste in chanting? Why I'm not able to make spiritual advancement? But how? Are we following the 6 principles that are mentioned, what are conducive for our spiritual life? And that's why association helps, because association brings enthusiasm. So one should see, oh, this devotee is serving 10 hours over the weekend. I'm just giving examples, but this devotee is so eager to chant so many rounds. This devotee is so eager to hear, to read. This devotee is doing so much for Lord Krishna. What am I doing? I am doing so much for myself. So this consciousness, one has to work on oneself. These are the 6 things that will take you go to next level of our Krishna consciousness. Eagerness to do something for Lord Krishna, eagerness to preach, eagerness to advance, eagerness to serve more and more, more and more, more and more. So this is enthusiasm. And then patience. And we will see some slides also, but I am summarizing it today. Patience. Patience means wait. Yes, I'm very enthusiastic today. But still, it's been so many years and I'm not making significant progress, although I'm trying my best to enthusiastically serve Krishna throughout my life. And I have spent so many years doing it. Be patient. Be patient. Enthusiasm and patience together are difficult because generally it is seen that if the results are not very conducive, one loses the enthusiasm. So in spite of no results, maintaining enthusiasm for a long time, you are actually developing confidence in Lord Krishna. How Krishna develops confidence in us? Not how enthusiastic we were in a day or 2, month or 2, year or 2. But he sees, okay, after 15 years have passed, are you still very enthusiastic about serving Krishna? It is very easy to serve Krishna 1 year or 2 years because anything new seems like exciting. But then to maintain one's enthusiasm over time, in spite of various difficulties, still being enthusiastic and committed to serve Krishna, that shows Krishna something. Then when Krishna looks at us, Krishna thinks, oh, he's serious actually. This devotee is serious. This devotee is sincere. So when Krishna develops faith in us, that mercy will help us advance. And all our life, and keeping in association of devotees who are enthusiastic, um, who have faith in Lord Krishna, who are serving Lord Krishna, that association will rub on us. And then we would like to be like them also. So Kapila Muni says in Srimad Bhagavatam that good association is a cause of liberation and bad association is a cause of bondage. We will develop the qualities with one we associate with. If you want to develop humility, you associate with those who are humble. If you want to develop whatever qualities you want to develop, associate with those who have those qualities. You associate with sincere devotees, you will become sincere. You associate with non-devotees, it is dangerous. You will end up with becoming one. So one has to be patient. Patient. Oh, I'm practicing for so many years. Anger is not going away. Lust is still there. There is so much envy in the heart. After so many years, I always still act on false ego. My bhakti is not advancing. Time is running out. Be patient. And if you're teaching Krishna consciousness, then you are putting so much time, energy, effort to help somebody. You are making so many sacrifices to help somebody take up Krishna consciousness, and they are not interested. Be patient. Continue serving others and be patient. So patience is required in all aspect of Krishna consciousness. Um, Chanting one round and then it becomes too difficult after chanting one round. Then we're like, oh no, 10 minutes have passed. One round is not over. Or after one round, the mind says, get up and do things, make phone calls, look into the office laptop, cook something for yourself, and chanting becomes a second priority. Be patient. Be patient. Continue. Keep sitting. Keep chanting. Mind becomes turbulent. Keep chanting. Keep chanting, Prabhuji. Keep chanting, Mataji. So be patient. So patience is required in every phase of life. You start reading scriptures, 5 minutes, mind says, that's it, done for the day. Be patient. Um, Keep reading. Absorb yourself. That's why in the beginning, devotional service time bound helps. Or count wise, like I will chant 4 rounds, I will read half an hour. So those things help because mind is not trained. So mind wants to do many things other than Krishna consciousness. So that's why there is a requirement for training. And self-made goals helps to train ourselves better. I will do this much no matter what. I will do this much. And then confidence. Sometime mind will say, what if Krishna is not God? People say Krishna is God, and I am doing so much, nothing is happening. I am chanting, there is no taste. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not. So one should have confidence. Confidence means if I just serve Lord Krishna will help me to attain Him. Krishna help those who help themselves. Lust is attacking. I will chant Hare Krishna and it will go away. Confidence. Be confident that taking shelter of Krishna will resolve all problems. Envy. What can I do? Yes, I have envy in my heart. Um, but I will continue chanting and I will continue my Krishna consciousness. Yes, I have lot of desires for Dhanam, Janam, and Sundaram. I need lot of wealth. I need beautiful women, and I need followers and respect. Okay, yeah, I am deceased, so let me continue chanting Hare Krishna. Um, so confidence basically means that one should be confident that chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient to take me back home, back to Godhead. Chanting Hare Krishna will do everything for me. I will take shelter of Krishna and Krishna will do everything for me. When we are confident, it will reflect into enthusiasm and patience also. Confident about the process. And then there is following regulative principles. This is basically tat tat karma pravartana, means engage yourself in Krishna conscious activities. Like get up early in the morning, do Mangal Arati, worship Tulasi, do Tulasi Arati, pray to Lord Nrsimhadev for protection. Read the 8 verses given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Read the 10 offenses. Then chant 16 rounds. Then cook for Lord Krishna. While cooking, hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And then offer food to Lord Krishna. Then go to work, 8 hours work. And once you come back from work, then use the result of the work in some sort of Krishna conscious activity. Make your home a temple. Read some scriptures in the evening. Take care of your family in such a way that is favorable for the Krishna consciousness, helping the children become Krishna conscious, keeping Krishna in the center throughout the day. So I'm taking rest in the night, helping in making dinner or pot washing, offering food to Lord Krishna, honoring that dinner, taking early rest because I want to rise up early in the morning tomorrow and chant my rounds. Whenever there's opportunity, being enthusiastic to associate with devotees, to hear from devotees, to um, to serve the devotees, being enthusiastic to go and participate in various festivities in the temple, joining various calls, conferences whenever there is a free time, open YouTube and search for lectures from various exalted devotees and hear them. So this is called Tattva Karma Pravartana. Somehow or other, remain 24-hour Krishna conscious. And it is easy. What depends if we want to remain, what depends is our eagerness. Are we eager to become Krishna conscious? If we are, Krishna will find so many ways for us to become Krishna conscious. If we are not eager, then even though we may be living in a house next to temple, it's not going to help us. So what matters is the internal. If it is said that no material difficulties can bar our Krishna consciousness, no material difficulties. So it's not like my material situation is unfavorable, so I cannot practice Krishna consciousness. No, never. You can practice Krishna consciousness in any situation. It all depends upon, are you desiring like that? Sometimes we curse the circumstances, um, um, which is in a way okay because you feel something else may be favorable. But rest assured, have faith that just because external circumstances have changed, your Krishna conscious degrading. No, you are continuously making advancement. And if you are sincere, if you are eager, you will find the ways to remain Krishna conscious despite all material circumstances. I know devotees, there is no temple nearby, there is no physical association nearby, but they're enthusiastically continuing their Krishna consciousness because they want to do it, because it's a priority for them. So somehow or other, remain 24-hour Krishna conscious. And Sangha Tyagat, basically similar instruction, which is um, um, associating with devotees and avoiding false association. And Satovritti means following the footsteps of great souls. Um, Hearing the lives of our previous acharyas, the activities of previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing about them, and then receiving inspiration and following their footsteps. Like, oh, how they preached, how they sacrificed their life, how they chanted, how they dealt with material circumstances, difficulties, how. So, how Prahlad Maharaj became a devotee and what kind of devotee he was, how Dhruv Maharaj performed severe austerities to attain Krishna, how Gajendra at the time of crisis called out to Lord Krishna, how Ambarish Maharaj was always Krishna conscious in spite of being the king, how Yudhishthir Maharaj um, always took shelter of Krishna, how Arjuna only put faith on Krishna and did whatever Krishna says, how great devotees of the Lord were Krishna conscious, how Yamaraj, when he heard that his servants offended a devotee, bowed down to Lord Vishnu and begged forgiveness. How. This is called Satovritti. Satovritti means following the footsteps of previous acharyas or hearing. It can be previous acharyas, it can be contemporary devotees. Like I was mentioning earlier, how this devotee is getting up early in the morning and finishing 16 rounds before going to work. How this devotee is raising children Krishna consciousness. How that devotee. So Satovritti means following the footsteps. So specifically great acharyas and also contemporary devotees who are very sincere, then we will be inspired by their lifestyle, how this person is so simple in eating, how this person is so simple in dressing, how this person is so humble all the time, how that person, and taking positive inspiration and trying to follow them. This is called Satovritti. Okay, so introduction. Srila Prabhupada says that bhakti is not imaginative speculation, but bhakti is practical activity. So not sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy, but practical activity. So how Hanuman was not just sitting in one place while he was trying to serve Krishna, he was not sitting in one place and shedding tears. No, he was constantly serving. He was constantly trying to, because actually you please the Lord by service. That's why everywhere Lord Krishna speaks about bhakti in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada translated as devotional service. He does not say devotion. He said devotional service. So service is very important. One time Shamanand Prabhu told me that as long as they are happy chanting 16 rounds, don't say anything to them. But if they come and they say, I'm lacking something in my Krishna consciousness, I need some flavor, I need some taste, I need some nourishment, I need to advance, then you tell them, do seva. Anybody who renders service to Lord Krishna will definitely advance. And actually, on the advanced stages of Krishna consciousness, one can absorb oneself in hearing and chanting. One can chant 24 hours and hear about Lord Krishna 24 hours, but in the beginning stages, when we are not so advanced, one should use one's time in serving the Lord. Because if we don't have taste in hearing and chanting, then we cannot do it 24 hours a day. And then if you're not serving Krishna, then naturally we are doing things which are others. So bhakti does not mean speculation or imaginative ecstasy like shedding tears, but practical. Do something for Lord Krishna. And what is pure devotional service? It is described as anya bilashitam shunyam jnana karma anavritam anukulina krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama. So anya abhilashitam shunyam. Abhilash means desire. Anya desire means desire other than serving Krishna. Shunyam. Shunyam means zero. Means bhakti, pure devotional service, is free from any personal motive, any personal desire. Anya abhilashitam shunyam. Jnana karma anavritam. And it is free from the conception of gyan and karma. Gyan means like, I know one person, he likes to read a lot. He reads scriptures, but then he also read books like Rig Veda and other things, and he then speculates. So bhakti is free from jnana. Reading scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita is itself bhakti, but there is no need to read many books. But one should read bhakti books only. So jnana karma anavritam, or free from karma. Free from karma. Karma means fruitive activities or doing things for my own pleasure. Pure devotional service is doing things only for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. And bhakti is sort of cultivation. So Prabhupada also says in introduction, it's a sort of cultivation, means something we have to cultivate. Is although we may not want to hear, we force ourselves to hear Krishna Katha. We may not want to read, we force ourselves to read. We may not want to chant, we force ourselves to chant. So we are cultivating these habits. And bhakti sort of cultivation means we spend energy there, engaging in, and then same with service, we don't want to serve, but we force ourselves to serve. So bhakti sort of cultivation, or in other words, bhakti is sort of training. We are training ourselves to move from me and mine to Krishna's. It's not about what I want. It's about, okay, keeping Krishna in the center. From me to Krishna consciousness, from me conscious to Krishna consciousness. So that cultivation is bhakti. And then first step is, this is all from introduction. So there is a lot of point here. I will just go slowly. First step is Shravana. Prabhupada says the bhakti, beginning of devotional service, is here. You hear about Krishna, how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, how to make advancement in spiritual life through hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, how chanting is the recommended process for this age of Kali. So this is the first step, is you hear. And once you have heard, then from whom do we hear? Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You hear and you inquire from a spiritual master. You ask questions. So this is the beginning of devotional life. You try to understand why Lord Krishna, why chanting, why hearing, what is spiritual word, what is material word, how what are these anarthas, how to deal with these anarthas, um, um, what does advanced stage of devotional service looks like, how to develop taste in chanting, why this is happening to me, etc. So hearing, and whenever you have question, you from Tat Vidhi Panipatna means through a spiritual master, and the inquiry to spiritual master should be humble. It should be in a humble mood and in a service attitude, not in a challenging mood. So if you want to inquire, then you do some service to them. In that way, they'll be pleased with us. And then with humility, we should inquire. Ki, Prabhuji, I'm very far from Krishna consciousness. I admire your care and your love for me. You are doing so much for me. I'm able to make spiritual progress because of your mercy. Please help me to understand this. How do I? So when we approach spiritual master, one should never approach spiritual master to glorify oneself. My spiritual master says, when you want to glorify myself, then we try to say, when we go to spiritual master and we say, Gurudev, what I have done, I have done this, and you know what, I have done this also, and you know what, I make very nice halwa, and you know what, um, I um, I have given everything for Krishna, and you know what, so this is not a way we approach spiritual master. We don't approach spiritual master to glorify oneself, but we always take a humble position. We render some service, and then we humbly inquire. So this is a way to receive knowledge, and knowledge actually is received through from heart to heart. Devigyan Hriday Prakashit. When we are humble in front of spiritual master, and then when they say us something, they may say us one line, but that one line will go and enter into the heart and will turn into realization. And it will bring an inspiration to follow that instruction, and we'll get the empowerment to follow that instruction. And we will be able to improve our lives. So this means actually we have heard. So hearing does not, so hearing is a process. And right, what is wrong kind of hearing? What is kind of a hearing which is not very fruitful is I'm hearing but I don't really care, and I have my own priorities, I have my own things, but what if I don't hear? What will Prabhuji think if I'm not here? So I'm not very attentive because I don't need to be attentive because I know everything anyways. And what else? And actually, Gurudev doesn't know. I know he's making a mistake here or anything. This is not a right approach to hear. Or when we find fault in somebody, we cannot hear from them because we try to run away from hearing. Oh, no, 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 I don't want to hear. Why? It's about Krishna. No, 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 no. I know it's about Krishna, but I have things to do, and I will rather do some service than hearing. So these are all not the right mood of hearing. And when the hearing is done under pressure, unwillingly, with envy in the heart, with false prestige, without any service attitude, all such sort of hearing, Shravan, will not translate into realization. It's like we hear and then it's a pious activity, we like it, but there won't be any transformation of the heart. So hearing is actually when Guru is pleased. And then when Guru is pleased, that pleasure takes the form of Krishna's mercy and illuminates our heart with knowledge. So that's the right way of hearing. That's why Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, in the introduction to this verse, he says, beginning of Krishna consciousness is hearing. And hearing must be done from a bona fide spiritual master. We won't hear from, um, what does these Rigvedi say? What does the Brahmavadi say? What does the Buddhist say? What does the Christian say? What does the Muslim say? What does um, what does my uh, parents say? What does no? One has to hear from bona fide guru. Who is a bona fide guru? It is mentioned. Um, um, जय कृष्ण तत्व होय say जय कृष्ण तत्व जाने say guru hoy. One who, something like one who knows about Krishna, he is a bona fide spiritual master. He should come from a disciplic succession. He should have read the scriptures. He should have understood the conclusion of scriptures. He should be practicing whatever scripture says in one's own life. He should have explained the scriptures. He should be free from vice. So there are various qualifications here in Bhagavatam first canto. We must have discussed earlier. So one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. One should humbly inquire. One should render service, and one should hear with the eagerness. This is a very important quality of hearing. Hearing with the eagerness. Srimad Bhagavatam, the sages says we are very eager to hear about Krishna. And that's why such beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam comes out. Actually, if the listeners are eager to hear and make advancement, the speakers will be empowered by Lord Krishna to speak, because hearing Krishna Katha is not dependent upon the speaker, it is dependent upon Lord Krishna. The words are given by Lord Krishna. But if there is no eagerness to hear, then the speaker will also not be empowered to speak Krishna Katha. So beginning of spiritual life is Shravan, hearing. Hearing should be with faith, attentive. Srimad Bhagavatam says, if one attentively and submissively hears Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be established in one's heart as an irrevocable fact. So if one submissively and attentively hear, then one will establish Lord Krishna within one's heart. So hearing is a very powerful way. Parikshit Maharaj, how eager he was to hear from Sukadev Goswami. Arjuna, how eager he was to hear from Lord Krishna. That's why he is asking so many questions. One of the sign of eagerness to hear is also a lot of questions will come. Well, there are different kind of listeners. Some absorb everything, but they don't have questions. Some have questions and they ask questions. Both are perfect. Some have questions, but they're like, who cares? That's okay. Doesn't matter. So that's not very much recommended. So first beginning is hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Then it says, why compulsory tad vigyanatham sa gurum eva vigachet. Why should I hear from Guru? Because this is what scripture says. Tad vigyanatham, if you want vigyan, tad vigyanatham sa guru eva vigachet. One should go to sa guru. One should go to a bona fide spiritual master. Bona fide spiritual master in Sanskrit is called Satguru. I'm not talking about a person Satguru, but Satguru means a bona fide spiritual master from scripture. So one should approach a true spiritual master. And that's what Rig Veda says. That's what scripture says. That's what Bhagavad Gita Krishna says. Tat vidhi pranipatina pariprashnena sevaya. And then what will Guru do to us? Guru will give us a seed of devotion through knowledge. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mentioned that it is very rare for one jiva to receive a seed of devotion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmand Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. The living entity is wandering up and down in cycle of birth and death in various species, 8.4 million species of life. But for one to get a seed of devotion is extremely rare. So that's why one should approach a guru. Tad vigyanatham saguru eva vigachet. One should humbly inquire, render service, and inquisitive, submissive, attentive, eager, and here Shravan. And this is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. And why should we do this? Then Prabhupada says further that Anandmaya Bhyasat, that because the living entities look seeking pleasure. So because we are looking for happiness, you approach a guru in a right way and hear from him and inquire, how can I become satisfied? And this was the question by the sages in first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. What is ultimate good for all living entities? And age of Kali is full of faults. How can they be perfectly satisfied? And then Sukadeva Goswami answers devotional service, which is without any motivation, without any interruption. Ahituki apratihata. That is the only thing that will satisfy. So because we are seeking freedom from confinement. Confinement means we are forced by material nature with various desires. We are forced by material nature to enjoy mode of passion ignorance, which is anger, lust, greed. We are forced by material nature with so many desires. Then based on our desire at the time of death, we are forced by material nature to take another birth. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like submissive and attentive, what is the difference, Prabhuji? Submissive, hearing, attentive.
submissive means whatever we are hearing, we accept. Unsubmissive hearing means Srimad Bhagavatam says something like chanting, and then we think Srimad Bhagavatam is over exaggerated, or Srimad Bhagavatam emphasizes some point, or Srila Prabhupada emphasizes a point, and then we are not submissive to accept it, and then we reject the concept. So this is not being submissive. Submissive means we accept whatever it says as it is and we try to follow. And attentive means we don't like whatever is being spoken, we hear it attentively. We are not just trying to hear for the sake of ritual, or we are not hearing to finish a book, but eagerness, attentive. So lack of eagerness will be kind of, okay, so what is the next chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam? So next chapter is teachings of Rishabdev. Okay, how many verses? 10 verses. Oh wow, amazing. 10 verses only. This I can get done in half an hour. And what is the next chapter? This has 78 verses. 78 verses. Oh no, such long purports. I have to read all these things. Okay, so then there is some sort of lack of eagerness. Eagerness means, okay, the sons were ignorant, suppose, and Rishabh Dev is giving knowledge. So this is like Rishabh Dev is speaking to me. Oh, demigods came to offer prayers when Lord Krishna was in the womb. What did the demigods say? Oh, Prahlad Maharaj preached to his classmates. What did he speak? What did he say? Oh, Maharaj Rahugana was enlightened by Jada Bharat. Jada Bharat was acting like a foolish man, but he was a completely self-realized soul. And he spoke to Bharat Maharaj in 5th canto, to Maharaj Rahugana in 5th canto. What did he say? What were his teachings? Oh, Lord Krishna was leaving from Dwarka he was leaving from Hastinapur to Dwarka. Mother Kunti, she came and offered prayers. What did she pray? Oh, what made Prahlad Maharaj, what instruction Prahlad Maharaj received from Narad Muni when he met his spiritual master? When Narad Muni met the hunter Mrigari, what did he tell him that brought about the transformation? What did Maharaj Priyavrat do when he received instruction from the contradictory instruction from Lord Brahma? Today morning we had a discussion from Lord Brahma and Narad Muni. Which instruction he chose? What was the effect of choosing that instruction? So Shrimad Bhagavatam, reading Shrimad Bhagavatam, hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam is about absorption, eagerness, submissiveness. And wherever there is doubt, humble inquiry. And this Shravan um, will help us advance. Does it answer, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So then, because we are seeking freedom from confinement. And what is a confinement? I mean, right now we are confined with these bodies. And once we leave this body, we don't have free will, and based on our desires, another body will be awarded. So it is very rare that one becomes free from confinement of mode of passion. Mode of passion will force us to run behind wealth, women, followers, respect. Mode of ignorance will force us to become lazy, to become angry, to take intoxications, will force us. And mode of goodness is also a confinement, which will force us to help others without keeping Krishna in the center. Just because it makes one feel that I'm a nice person. So I'm being confined with these desires. And even though I don't want, doesn't matter what I want, I get disturbed by these three modes. I'm constant. They constantly run my life. So how can I become free from this confinement? And I'm pleasure seeker. So I must approach Guru. This is what scripture says. Tad vijnana saguru eva bigachet. And what I'm going to receive is the most rare thing, which is Bhakti Lata Beach. Bhakti Lata Beach means a seed of a small faith in one's heart that I should advance spiritually. If we have that small seed in our heart, means you have like some internal inspiration. I want to grow. I want to become spiritual. I want to advance. I want to nourish my heart. I want to know the truth. I want to develop relationship with the Lord. I want to hear more about the Lord. Any spiritual desire, that is Bhakti Lata Beach. That's a seed of devotion. By hearing from Sri Guru, we get that seed, and then we hold the responsibility to grow it. Nobody will take our responsibility. We have to take our own responsibility. We should become responsible. Responsible people means uh, I will take my responsibility to advance. Now, how do I advance? Inquire. Hear from scriptures, hear from one of our spiritual master who repeat the scriptures, and humble inquiry whenever I have doubts, and try to have a good understanding with a deep heart filled with service attitude, and the bhakti will grow. And then Prabhupada says, because we are ignorant, we are transmigrating in different bodies, and we seek freedom from this confinement, and we are simultaneously looking for happiness. And that all comes by hearing from Guru. So that's why he says the first step, if we want to advance in our spiritual life, is Shravan, here. And then if good fortune arise, then we will come in contact with devotees. We will hear about Lord Krishna, about Jiva being partner pastor of Lord Krishna, and we have forgotten we have a relationship, and now we are covered by various other relationships, but we have forgotten our true relationship with Lord Krishna. Then Prabhupada says only sincere person gets this chance, that one comes in contact with devotees and get a seed of devotion. Now Mahaprabhu is telling it is Kono Bhagyavanji, it is very rare. So we can appreciate somehow or other, I was chosen among billions of living entities. I was chosen as one who was, now we were chosen because it's not our free will, because Krishna inspired us from within. That Krishna brought us to a point where we can accept bhakti. Krishna put us in association so we can accept bhakti. And after being in association, Krishna gave us inspiration from within to practice bhakti. And then Krishna gave us inspiration to accept a spiritual master also. So ultimately, Krishna is doing everything for me. And Krishna has given me such a valuable gift, which I cannot repay back. So what do? I must serve him. He has done so much for me. How can I reciprocate? He has saved me. Of course, through the medium of spiritual master, but ultimately, Krishna has saved me. Um, Vasudev Ghosh, he writes a song, Yadi Gaura Na Hoite, and he says, what if Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have descended in this planet? And then he says, what would have become of me then? How could I have sustained living? Who could have told me about the divine mellows of the divine couple Shri Radha and Krishna? Who would have told me about Vrindavan? Who would have told me about Giri Govardhan? Who would have told me about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Who would have told me about the divine Shrimad Bhagavatam? The glories of divine Shrimad Bhagavatam? Who would have told me about fill in the blanks? Who would have brought me to the point of leaving all my bad habits and living a pure life? Who would have given me everything that I have today? Who would have given me the wonderful books written by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami? And without this, what would have become of me? What I was, where I have been picked up from, what I have been put into without any qualification. So then one can appreciate. So Prabhupada says it's when good fortune arises, you will get all these things. Now, it's only a good fortune because we didn't deserve it. And the proof that we didn't deserve it is when we look into our past, it was dark. It was in ignorance, and it was full of miseries and fill in the blanks. And it was full of material desires, and it was full of bad qualities, and it was full of. So naturally, it's a good fortune. And somehow Krishna brought us in connection with devotees, and we heard. And then what happened when we hear in association of devotees? It awakened transcendental knowledge within our heart. Things start to make sense. Now we got a purpose in life. Previously, we were living life without any purpose. We were living for the sake of living. And we know that it was not very clean, it was not very pure, it was not very satisfying by any circumstances. And everything we heard makes sense. Life got a purpose. So Prabhupada says, sincere person gets this chance. This is not for everyone. Prabhupada says, only few sincere people, if their good fortune arise, they will come in contact with devotees and they will hear about um, um, Lord Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam. They will hear about what Lord Krishna actually spoke in Bhagavad Gita. What is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? So this is so much mercy that we all have received. So Prabhupada says, one who takes advantage of this opportunity, he opens the door for liberation. It's an opportunity. And Krishna is so merciful. Krishna has brought us so far. Although we are still in the beginning, still Krishna has brought us so far. So one should take advantage of what we have received, and one should reciprocate. Therefore, one should accept this opportunity to return back home, back to Godhead, with Utsaha, Nishchat, and Dhairya. That's the introduction. Why it is so important to be enthusiastic, to be confident, and Dhairya, to be patient. Now, the whole introduction Prabhupada gave, obviously it will increase our confidence for what we have received. And then it will make us enthusiastic to reciprocate. One devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I reciprocate? You have done so much for me. And Prabhupada said, you cannot reciprocate. And then Prabhupada said, you can reciprocate by sharing with others what you have received from. So what we have received from Sri Guru, it's priceless. We cannot pay for it. It's priceless. And Sri Guru just gave it to us out of his causeless mercy. Now, what do? At least we can share with others. Jesus Christ, he was, this is his second last day. He had 11 apostles, and he told them that tomorrow I will die in public, and you all will watch and not say anything. He actually knew what is going to happen tomorrow, but nobody knew, but Jesus Christ knew. And then he washed the feet of all his disciples. They were 11. He washed their feet. And then they told, why are you washing our feet? Whoever we are, whatever we have received from you, why you are washing our feet? And Jesus Christ said, because I want you to do to others what I am doing to you. I am washing your feet, so you will wash others' feet. So I am doing good, so you should do good to others. That's your responsibility. So likewise, Prabhupada says, there is no way you can reciprocate, but whatever mercy Sri Guru has bestowed upon us, we cannot pay back. But the only thing we can do is by sharing what Sri Guru has given to us with others, trying our best, using our time, energy to serve Sri Guru's desire. And it is good for us only, because Sri Guru will be pleased, Lord Krishna will be pleased, and our advancement is only dependent upon Lord's mercy. And if they are pleased, then the mercy will come, then we can advance. By our own endeavor, we cannot advance in our Krishna consciousness, because it's dependent upon Krishna's mercy. Krishna has to open our heart and give us absorption, give us divinity, give us remembrance to himself. Krishna has to do that. By our own endeavor, we cannot remember, we cannot become absorbed, we cannot do anything. So we just try to serve Lord Krishna, and then we patiently wait for Lord Krishna's mercy to descend. So that's all I want to discuss. And then if there is any discussion, I would be very happy to take. Very nice. Very happy to see all the names of all the devotees. Grateful for this wonderful Sangha, and thank you for joining. If there is no discussion, then shall we end?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. No questions, but very nice class, Prabhuji.
Well, it is because of all of your presence that I could speak whatever I could speak. So I'm very grateful for all of you. My obeisances.
Prabhuji, can we get summary, whatever you describe in like detail somewhere, like to give someone synopsis, like it's. Do we have the summary in a presentation mode, Prabhuji, which we can?
You mean, yeah, the slide has the summary, Prabhu, that I shared.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of abbreviation, Prabhuji, like, in a little detailed way.
Yeah, so that is Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada's purport. So what I have done is I have read Srila Prabhupada's purport and then one word just to remember, and I just repeated what Prabhupada spoke in the purport. So if you want to share, then maybe first 4 or 5 paragraphs, that is introduction to third verse nectar of instruction, and that's all I shared, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
So very grateful for this wonderful sangha. My obeisances to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu be evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Very grateful.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.